He's like Tasmanian devil.
I'm curious a little bit more about your the Klowns of the Apocalypse. In this case, when you say that your idea has been rolling, has it changed the content of what you were? Because we were talking about, you know, you want to show the feelings of, you know, this guy that went to the party with a lot of clowns,
right.
and at the end he ends up killing all the clowns. So he has a gut to do that too, you know. So has that feeling changed?
Well, if you think about it, I was trying to expand instead of stereotypical like clown of war,
right,
being tanks and guns, and you've also got war against apartheid, you've got war against drugs, you've got, so you could have a clown of war that is actually not of physical battles. So a couple of the things that I was trying to manifest is don't go for the easy. So don't go for a clown of war and he's got a bunch of crazy tanks that shoot pies. Go for the clown of war and it would be war against intelligence, war against common sense. So that is what he is fighting for, is he's the general of an army that's fighting against common sense. Only a clown or a crazy person would want to do that. You know, it's how do you turn the clown of plague into the plague of indifference, or the plague of stupidity? How do I manifest that into a painting or a sculpture? So I actually started morphing it into these clowns of much more abstract apocalypse.
Did you want people to actually see those in the picture and try to figure it out themselves?
Yes.
Or would you rather?
I don't want to spell it out.
You don't want to spell it out at all?
No. Because clowns scare people, pretty typically.
Right.
I like clowns, but clowns are actually, in other cultures, demons. With the white face and the... So it somehow morphed into a children's entertainment, but it's also got this scary side to it. So clowns themselves represent fun and laughter and horror and screaming, all in one. So when someone walks in and it's the Clowns of the Apocalypse, they've got their own nightmares that they can put into each one of those. So when you look at Clown of War, he's got his top hat and his red beard. Someone could look at that and think it's their dad who used to beat them. You know, it's this, it creates their own god of war. I just wanted to get the pose and the imposing, you know, look. And
this is way deeper than I thought it would be.
When I started getting into the clown of, you know, indifference and
this is how it grows then.
But see, that's where the ball got too big, and I had to start cutting it off, because how do I represent indifference in a painting? You can't. I don't know of any way I can represent, without being cartoony, indifference.
But what if people don't get it? Would you be disappointed in the pieces that you do?
Nope, because I think you'll walk away with something, and as long as it's something, I don't care what it is. Because I've got a certain idea, but unless I spell it out and I say, this is the clown of war, his war is against intelligence, honor, and blah, 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 people are going to interpret. You get 4 people in a room and they might have 4 different opinions.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spell it out. I don't want to restrict people to, this is exactly what I want. Because then it's no longer art, it's an instructional manual.
It's a message.
It's an instructional manual.
But you want to be more untitled.
Yeah, because
then... You want to give people the freedom.
Because if people can bring in their own experience, then it becomes a personal bond, as opposed to, oh, this is what the artist was thinking.
Ah, okay.
That immediately becomes a second person experience. You want it to be first person. I, you know,
feel
me,
that too.
as opposed to they, she, him. There's that immediate step. If they fall into the painting, you win.
We are human.
Yep.
I see.
And everyone's got their demons.
That's very interesting concept though.
See, that's what this whole Clown of War thing, can, or this whole Clowns of the Apocalypse can just go. I could have sculptures, I could have film, I could have books, I could have graphic novels, I could have. That's what, as I'm sitting down, you know, it's like, are you familiar with Goya's The Sleep of Reason Brings the Dreams of Monsters?
No, I'm not familiar with that
Okay,
picture.
it's a guy and he's sleeping on a table and he has a book.
Okay.
And then there's all these monsters that are behind him. And it's, what happens is you have this idea, but as the idea goes along, there's these roots and branches that come from it. So it just becomes too big. So that's where this, you know, I could have Clowns of the Apocalypse, a graphic novel. There could be a short movie about it. There could be music about it. You know, each one of the characters could have their own song. And I'm sitting here thinking about all this, and it's like, it just...
So this theme really light you up.
Oh yeah. It could be everything. So then how do I take that and trim it back after I've ballooned it all out to here, out to infinity? How do I trim it back to...
More, you have to...
But you see, this is what great artists do. They actually research.
Yeah.
And actually like really are details.
But it becomes a woods though, and you can't see the forest for the trees because all these things branch out and take root, and then they start creating their own life. So talking to Tony does his Tiger Spy. I wanted him to do logos, just give me a logo idea. Well, by the time he had actually sketched something up, I was already off 4 iterations away, and he's like, whoa, what happened? And I'm like, dude, that was 4 days ago.
Really?
Yeah. Because like I said, I'm sitting here with all these endless possibilities. As soon as I pick one, all the other possibilities get shoved aside while this one's being executed.
You're the star.
Well, but as you work
work.
it though, you gotta remember, like I told Tony, as you're working this, you're also not iterating it. So what it could have been, if I would have let it grow longer, because you always have to stop, even in oil painting. Well, less in acrylic, more in oil. But if you're painting in oil, you have to learn when to put your brush down, because you'll keep messing with it, and messing with it, and messing with it until you have a mess. So you have to know when to put your brush down. It's the same thing with ideas. When do you stop changing the ideas and execute?
Alright, thank you so much. This has been The Core. Thank you for watching. And this is Luke MacGilvray, our guest, and Mino Watanabe.
Thanks.